Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crypto Potato YouTube channel. My name is Max, and today I'm joined with Jack Liu. Jack Liu is one of the most appreciated and active entrepreneurs in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Jack is the co-founder of Factom since 2014 and the founder and CEO of WanChain in 2017. So thank you so much for joining me today, Jack.
Thanks so much, Max.
So let's just jump right into it. Can you tell me when was the first time you heard about Bitcoin and why did you decide to invest and get involved?
Yeah, I first heard about Bitcoin in Austin, Texas. That was back in 2012. And I had a mixed background of uh, economics and computer science. I was a software engineer for more than 20 years. So immediately it caught my attention and I decided to look into it. I spent my spare time as a moonlighter, doing a lot of readings and also look into the code and also set up, mining node at my home, right? And I decided to jump into it. And some of my friends in Austin were doing some investment. I followed them and decided to do investment. And it was a funny story. Back in 2014, I made a tough decision. Basically, I invest all my money of Bitcoin onto Ethereum, and also invest all my time on Factom project. So,
Wow.
and luckily, both of those two projects are very successful. So that's how I got into the space. I became a totally full-time and fully dedicated into this space. Yeah.
Wow, super cool. And are you surprised as what has evolved from the space since the published white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto?
Not surprised at all. I mean, it's increasing and gradually, little by little, right? Actually, I was a little bit disappointed about the adoption. I think as
Wow.
it's asterisk about like me, I was hoping the industry will go a lot faster. But certainly, it's pretty good so far. Yeah.
Since the inception of Bitcoin 10 years ago and in the recent years, billions were invested in vast amounts of crypto projects. However, we're still waiting for the killer app that will finally showcase the need for public blockchains and will potentially change the way we exchange value with one another in an easy, efficient, low-cost, transparent manner. Do you see a scenario where there is a killer app?
I don't know how do you define that, but when I was working on Factom, people described us as a killer app because it was a straightforward solution to put data on the blockchain. And when I started working on WanChain in 2017, people started thinking about us as a killer app, right? And the industry has been looking for that. For solutions. People were expecting like Apple or Android, those platforms, like app would jump out and everybody would adopt it, right? In this space, a little bit different because it started as a niche, very unique. Not too many early adopters,
Right.
but sooner or later, more and more people get in, and there will be mass adoption there. And certainly, very recently, Libra is a very good example. And I think more and more applications will come out, and let's hope to see many killer apps.
Yeah, actually, we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Um, so exactly where you were saying about it being a bit of a niche. Do you think that it will be left as an isolated sector from daily life, and will only serve as an investment vehicle, or do you see day-to-day people actually using cryptocurrencies?
Certainly, I think it's not only the cryptocurrency, but the blockchain technology itself will be used in day-to-day life. But just like the internet, internet is used by everybody every day, right? People don't know the technology behind it, right? I think one day, if blockchain technology is used by everybody, just like the internet, I think that will be a huge success.
That's actually an amazing metaphor. Lots of times I struggle with trying to find the proper wording to describe blockchain to people who are not familiar whatsoever, and it's scary to them. But I think that metaphor with that we use the internet and don't understand 100% of its inner workings, I think that's really great. Let's move on to WanChain. And WanChain is to solve the interpretive problem between blockchains, whether public or private, and by that, to build a future of finance, as stated on your website. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and WanChain tokens are already integrated with EOS to follow. Can you please explain to the average Joe how WanChain will enable users to exchange tokens between the different blockchains?
Okay. I use a LAN chain, LAN network, local area networks, in the early days of the internet, right? I used to work in a small environment and many computers are connected and they can talk to each other, right? And that's like what we have today with blockchain industry. And in the internet world, all these smaller networks will be connected. That's why we are talking about interoperability. All these different technologies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, they speak different languages, they have different codes, different communities. They need to talk to each other, right? So that's why we become WAN. It's called wide area network that connects these local area networks together, and eventually we will become the backbone for all the blockchain technologies, right? That's what we hope to establish. Right? For everybody to understand it, so this will be a technology to interconnect all these heterogeneous networks, right? To think of this network, you can think of it as a decentralized exchange or a casino, right? Majority of people have been to a casino, but you have to think of it as a decentralized network. You don't have to rely on a centralized exchange or centralized casino to manage your money once you deposit money in there. Instead, you deposit your tokens or your coins into a decentralized network. You trust this network instead, right? So once you deposit your tokens in there, you get different kind of chips. So once you get these chips, you play or exchange in this big environment, and this network, once you're done, you can withdraw those and swap them back into your own local currency or any kind of currency you want. That's how you can understand this as a decentralized network as an infrastructure for the future of finance, and that's what WanChain is.
Well, speaking of finance, let's talk a little bit about DeFi, or decentralized finance, which has become a bit of a buzzword recently. MakerDAO is the leading used application which enables users to borrow DIA stablecoins with Ethereum as collateral, and has already around $500 million US of Ethereum locked in loan agreements, and it's rising. WanChain's focus since the beginning has been DeFi. You recently announced a partnership with MakerDAO. Can you elaborate about this partnership?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we announced a partnership recently. I think MakerDAO is popular, right? People like to use DeFi and deposit their Ether and borrow, DAI as a stable coin, right? And so far, DAI is the most successful stable coin based on the cryptocurrency, right? And WanChain has integrated multiple stable coins. We believe that it's very important for WanChain to interconnect with the traditional finance, right? So we connect with multiple stable coins on Ethereum and make them transferable to WanChain and then get connected with other crypto coins. And MakerDAO certainly is a very unique way. They based on the algorithm is based on the cryptocurrency, not like the other stable coins backed up by the fiat, right? So we think it's very important to create this kind of crypto-based fiat currency as well, right? So theoretically, we can work with MakerDAO to create a separate, similar structure on WanChain as well, to create a MakerDAO and also DAI on WanChain that can be based on, that can include all kinds of cryptocurrency, that will include Bitcoin and EOS and many other coins, right? Extend it and make it really decentralized finance. And at the same time, we are building applications, or we can build two-way bridges that can have applications on WanChain and also on Ethereum on many different, we call it cross-chain dApps, right?
Mhm.
So we can ship Bitcoin or any other coins onto Ethereum so that MakerDAO can include them on Ethereum as well. So that's how we see it, and that's something that we hope to build in the near future.
It sounds really exciting, and very interesting. Let's actually talk a little bit more about WanChain. WanChain also announced its intention to serve as an infrastructure for decentralized exchanges, DEX, which is a tremendous and needed use case for an entrepreneurial blockchain. As we know, the underlying tech behind an exchange must be efficient enough to allow fast trade execution time. Do you think WanChain can meet this demand?
Yeah, certainly. When POW, because we based on first version was based on off of Ethereum, right? And our speed is a little bit faster than Ethereum currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, that we are moving from POW into POS, and we are in the middle of announcing that POS a beta version, right? So in our lab, our speed, I mean TPS, can reach to thousands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully our target TPS on production after POS will be more than 1,000. So and that will be continue to be a lot faster, right? In the beta version compared to alpha, we cut the block producing time from 10 seconds to 5 seconds,
Wow.
right? And it's running fine, right? So gradually, I think based on the computing power and also network speed improvement and also our code efficiency, there are a lot of optimization. We can continue to improve the speed. So I don't see we will have any problem to have fast running DEX on WanChain.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to change up the conversation a little bit and actually go back to Libra, what we were talking about before, Facebook's launch of Libra blockchain, the future ecosystem surrounding it, and of course, the Calibra stable currency by 2020. Some speculate that Calibra could drive to mainstream adoption of crypto, and others worry it could be a competitor to some of the potential use cases of public blockchains and its tokens, such as DeFi. Bitcoin, which is recognized as a store of value, is not a competitor to Calibra, as it is a stablecoin and not an investment opportunity. With the instant potential adoption of 2.7 billion of Facebook network users and 100 global companies expected to serve as nodes in the network, do you see Libra as a threat to other infrastructure platforms as Ethereum, EOS, or WanChain?
Certainly, I don't see that as a threat. I think it's I would say in the old term, a favorable or bullish factor.
Wow.
That's how I see it, right? So, we discussed earlier, we're trying to find this killer app and for mass adoption, right? And this is really a good opportunity for average user, Facebook user. They will be exposed to cryptocurrency and to blockchain technology, right? Mm-hmm. So, although they use Libra as a stable coin in the beginning, but more and more users will be rushing into this crypto industry, mm-hmm. right? And there will be more money coming in, more users coming in. There will be definitely a good news for the whole industry, right? And this has to be a middle step, right?
Yeah.
I think we cannot jump into this future in a perfect world that we run everything on crypto, or we call it blockchain technology, or DeFi in the sense of all the finance, right? We got to have some kind of middle step, right? And people, use stable coins that are backed up by, traditional financial assets, right? And that's how we are trying to accomplish. We see that as multiple steps. And WanChain is trying to do the same thing. We're trying to bridge the traditional finance and also the crypto finance, and then they will eventually merge into one. Mm-hmm. So that's how we see it, right? And eventually, if we can build a bridge between Libra and also other crypto. I say we can build a bridge between WanChain and Libra. Libra coin can move on to WanChain and be connected, it be exchangeable with other cryptos.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, we can ship many other cryptos onto Libra, and they can, have more, applications on Facebook platform. So potentially, this will be a win-win situation.
It's great to hear that you have such an optimistic outlook on this. I've heard other commentators say other things, and it's exciting to hear that you are ready and willing to have some big centralized company like Facebook sort of poke its toes into the world of cryptocurrency. So it's exciting to hear you say that you're optimistic for this future. Let's move on.
It's definitely good news for the industry. Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question, which is about the Rivets and Telefónica's cybersecurity department partnership. The last one is the largest worldwide telephone operators and mobile network providers. How do you think the partnership will affect WanChain and the crypto ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah, we have been looking into where the interoperability technology will be used, right? And we think that for the mass adoption, mobile phone will be very, very good start point, right? So that's why we start this partnership with Telefonica, Rivets, and also Civic. We did a very successful demo product several months ago, and we demoed it on Mobile World Congress, the largest conference in the world, right? And it was well received. And we are exploring different opportunities with different partners at this time to find the application for cross-chain technology. At the same time, we are looking for, on the business side, we can do the same. So for the e-commerce or something like the point of sale system, right, cross-chain technology will probably be used. Just the same idea like a mobile phone. You cannot have all the different crypto wallets being installed in a very small, limited space, right? And probably in the next few weeks, we'll have very good news coming up.
Exciting. I'll be keeping an eye out for that. Let's move on to the next question. WanChain is on its way for a mainnet launch of Galaxy Proof of Stake algorithm by Q4 of 2019 with a beta test net to launch as we speak. There are advantages for POS over POW though. Proof of work is a tested technology and to date with no security flaws. An attribute that can't be said about POS. Is there a reason to worry about the security of the WanChain network post mainnet launch? Please also share with us the added value of the network upgrade.
Sure. Well, we have been looking into this POS solution since the beginning of this project, right? We spent at least more than half a year to do the research to find the right solution, right? We think that it's a trend. The whole industry is moving from POW into POS. And in just not too long ago, we had several attacks on POW network because they're smaller, right? For smaller networks like Bitcoin Gold or Ethereum Classic, right? People have low cost. They can deploy the computing power to attack those networks, right? So it's very important for us to have reduce the systematic risks and build a lot of security measure on the software. They utilize the POS mechanism to secure the network, right? I think it's a trend. It's an inevitable trend. Certainly, recently we have heard that at least more than 80 projects are moving into POS at this point, right? And people are throwing money, trying to set up the nodes, and people are confident in this area, right? Yeah. And certainly for WanChain, we have spent a lot of time in researching and implementing. It's about a year now that we're almost ready to roll out our beta version, and hopefully we can roll out POS onto our production network a lot sooner than we expected, right? So I think we will take many steps, make sure that there won't be any problem when we roll out our POS, and you guys can trust us on the implementation side. Yeah, and for the added value side, certainly, as I mentioned, it will be a lot faster, right? And it will be a lot faster, and also we can find our solution can allow us to find a good balance between the, we always call this trilemma issue, right? Decentralization, security, and also performance, right? Now we can find a very good balance. We allow the community find a good balance between the performance and also decentralization. We find a very good balance on that. So of course it takes steps to get there, right? And depending on the computation power and also network speed and all of that, right? And lastly, POS can get a lot of involvement from the community. People can start from now they get used to the voting, right? Or we call it on-chain governance, right? So once used to the POS, so people will be more encouraged to use their power, their token power, to participate in all the on-chain governance events. That's all the benefits I can think of, right?
Absolutely. A great virtue of POS over POW is the community participation in securing the network. The barrier for entry is low, as no high computing power is needed to become a profitable validator. In your recent Medium post, you shared the different ways of participating. One of them is by holding a minimum of 100 WAN and delegating it to a validator, and by that to earn rewards from the network. What are your expectations of the total amount of WAN that will be staked post mainnet launch? And also, could you tell us the potential annual return of investment for the different ways of staking?
Okay, yeah, we have a very unique POS mechanism. We want to design it to be very flexible. At the same time, we want to have a very low entry barrier. So everybody can set up a node, they can run the node, right? And we don't want to have very centralized, very small number of nodes, right? So the minimum to set up a node is 10,000 WAN coins to run a node. And the minimum for the stakers to have 100 WAN coins they can stake into any nodes, right? That's really very, very low entry barrier, right? So for the return, I think it's pretty good, right? We have at least 10% of the return for average stakers ROI, right? But based on the assumption that probably 20% of the supply, circulating supply, will be staked in the beginning of the beginning after we roll it out, right? So I think return is all based on how many participate, right? The market will decide, what will be the right ROI for a specific project, right? And for the validators, the return will be a lot higher because we encourage people to participate and to run the nodes to help to secure the network, right? So we expect there will be more than 20% for the validators. And one good news is if you don't have we call it 50,000 WAN coin, you can partner with each other, and you can have several guys running a node together. That's how the uniqueness for our POS network.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I only have one more question, but it's kind of an abstract one, and it is something that we have been talking about a little bit. 5 years from now, will public blockchains be part of our daily life? And in what industry do you think that they'll be used the most?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I've been in the industry for a while, right? Things are slower than I anticipated, right? 5 years, I hope that, because of, Facebook and I'm sure that many of the giants or tech giants or financial big companies will all jump into the space, right? I've been into this enterprise we call it enterprise blockchain technology for a while, right? And we are trying to bridge between the traditional finance and the crypto finance, right? I've been in this space for a while, and we're trying to tackle the big challenges over there, right? I know that there are legal challenges, and that there are a lot of other boundaries for the traditional enterprises to come in, right? But I think it's a lot sooner, hopefully, than we experience in the internet expansion, right, or adoption, right? Because everybody's already online, right?
Right.
All these technologies like like blockchain can be adopted very, very fast, a lot faster than the internet.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jack. This has been a super enlightening and very interesting conversation, and thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Max.